this will be part 2 of just showing Matthew's edits before I combine it. So I broke them into groups, or Matthew into groups, and I'll show you that text right here. And this is where I left off last time. So I want to pick it up right from here. So as you can see, here's the groups that I divided them into, that I'm going to move these sections over and kind of put them wherever next to Luke's text that has similar words like that. And actually, you're going to find out I didn't do all that good of a job because as the more text went in, the more the other words were better said in another area. So, but here again, I've had to change the word written to prophesied, and coming to you, which actually it's about Jerusalem. So is coming to Jerusalem. I know that I went over this before about you don't want to trip up the animal that he's riding on or the colt that he's riding on. So it has to be something that the colt can step on and not lose balance. So they can't be branches. Even though I put the word small here, that still made me uncomfortable. So leaves here. So I think it's in the other books when the stories go that I finally made the call that it was like leaves and grass. So, but they were before him doing this. Now here, it has the word Nazareth here. But the problem with this is that it's not the correct word at all. When they're they're explaining who Jesus is. And then I thought, okay, I'll put in the tribe's name where he's from, but he's not from their tribe. So, but he is from the lineage of King David. So the thing here is that I'm using the word King David here in the text and not any of these others. So these are all going to be gone here. But the object is I just wanted to show you my thinking behind why I'm using the word from King David. Those Israelis would understand what they're talking about when they say that. And it should be he is our King in heaven, maybe even put here. So that might be added later, but I didn't add it here. Now this was hinting to the words, but I didn't know whether it's going to be this city or this city. See, I've got this bar, so it was originally this word here, Bethany. But Bethpage is after Beth. When they're coming from, well, I guess the best thing to do is just get the map out. Let's see, where can I blow this up at? Yep. You can see here that when he was coming from Jericho, he came into Judah here, and then there has to be a road going through here. And Bethany here is before Bethpage. But so when he's leaving Jerusalem and coming to rest for the night, will the text tell us that he's in Bethany, or is he in Bethpage? So the thing there is that's why I have that word still there, or why I'm adding that word right now, because it could be either or. Now it comes to this word, whoever, which was easy. That word's easy. And when I changed the word after, it's because when you go through, there's many things he's talking about, but it's after. These are things that are being said that those who are listening to Jesus' words tell us about the end of the world or the end of man on earth, has to say that these are the things that are going to be brought up. And it does weaken the person who is worried about a war. Now at this time, nuclear weapons are around, that is the nuke's going to end the world altogether. Jesus is telling us here, don't be worried about those. Don't even care about what people say like that. Don't be spreading. It's the time for you to be speaking up and say, my way of life does not teach that. My king tells me that this is the order, that these are going to always happen, and I'm not to be worried about that. But what also he adds is, my truth and my kingdom will be preached to the whole world. Now, that's pretty much what I'm doing here, that all this text that you're seeing at this time being revealed, these are the true truths of Jesus. Although, like I said, there's better from our Creator's everlasting promises, uh, how those were found, the way he um, gave gave me these rules to make it repeatable, that these are the truthful, because anytime you repeat something over and over for accuracy, especially mathematics, 2 plus 2 equals 4, this type of thing. But what happens is that in language, we don't have anything that does repeatableness until our Creator's given me these different formats to pick out words that actually do look like a poetry format, and how they hook together, and how I'll get it. I'll get into that. Although you can go to the website and you can see and read his hidden formats. You'll see the patterns there that are found, and then there's a bunch of, in fact, all the PDFs that I went through. You can see all of them that I found, just like what I've done here with these, the text that you see now. You'll see the pieces. This is pretty easy. Okay, here the groom will come to meet us sooner or later. Now, this is one of them that Proverbs, these words here, I have no understanding why a groom would meet at night, and why these men or virgins would be uh, wanting to wait for him in the night. So this text might be removed, but right now I'll probably remove it at the very end. But the thing here is it looks good now, but when I remove it, I'll get into a better explanation. But you now have a quick summary of why I would be removing that. Okay, here I'm just shifting these words. He was reclining over to here. That's easy to understand. Here I thought there was a lot of complications or a lot of text being added, but okay, it's because it's only 10 minutes long right now. So I had to use the word courtyard just to make sure the story read and the reader would be understanding where he left from. But you got to also remember, a lot of these verses that you're seeing here might get canceled because there's other words and other text, or other stories that have a better understanding and use better words. So you'll see me crossing out those as I mesh the text together. In that, you'll see I've kind of I'll get into that in the next video. But here I needed to use the word wet a cloth, and then he could have sucked from the cloth to get some water because you can't fill a cloth with water. um, or I think it was they had like a sponge, but nobody's carrying a sponge around them out there. But to have a cloth, yes, I guess that's possible because they most likely um, could have been carrying water because this was something that they knew they were going to be standing out in the hot weather because the sun was shining until there was darkness over all the land. So they knew that this was going to be out. They're going to be out there for a while, so I can understand the water. Cloth, it would have been just somebody tearing off their shirt or something and sticking out a branch. But the object here is it has to be wet a cloth. And the black spell, because I know the stories other places are going to be that that the blocks cracked in two. So so here the earth shook and the roof fell because the roof is what's made out of timber, and it does get old. And the text actually shows that it was replaced maybe twice on the house for our Creator. Once when it was being rebuilt, and the other time was, I think it was the King Jehu did that. And to understand what the roof looked like, we have to come to this text here in Exodus, and we'll find that by changing the word bars to arches, then we actually finally have what the house or the tent for our Creator looked like, and then they would have took this forward. So it's these, and there's boards going back and forth here as well to support them. So these are sets of boards as well. But the text is telling us the length of them and how far it was across. So this is what's known as a hip roof, and that is now you're witnessing the first time what the text actually was saying, but they changed the word to bar or bars. Now, that's, whoops. Sometimes where I leave the cursor last is why it's jumping back and then coming back down some. So you can see I needed to change those words. And that's the end of this text. Now, what I'm going to do next, though, is in Luke, I've got to turn around and say that the editing that you see here is going to be carried forward as I go forward. Okay. It'll be in the next videos until I get to the very end. So I'm not going to go over all of them. So the next video is going to be about Luke, but you're going to see me also meshing these groups into Luke. But I'm going to go first through all the editing that I've done on Luke and skip over the meshing, because then you're going to see, because I didn't put all the meshing in, I just wanted to show placements, and then I did mesh a few times. So I'm just trying to put a forewarning on what's going to happen in the next video.